If you're applying for citizenship on the 3-year rule, you got to bring your spouse. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States at our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. When you apply for U.S. citizenship, typically most people have to wait 5 years. But people who file based on marriage to a U.S. citizen can apply after 3 years. That's a special little handy-dandy feature of being married to a U.S. citizen, is you can become a citizen faster and you can apply 2 years early. But when you do that, you're going to have to prove the marriage. So we have lots of videos about whether or not it's smart to apply under the 3-year rule or whether you should wait for the full 5 years. Namely, do you really want to have to prove up the marriage again? But if you apply for an N-400 on the 3-year rule, you need to make damn sure that you bring your spouse to the interview. Now, I think it's 50-50 that your spouse just stays outside, but the officer often does like to know that at least they came. At least they cared enough to make sure that you got to your interview on time and that they are there to support you. I've seen lots of cases where couples are very loving and very supportive, and the U.S. citizen is, of course, very happy to come because this is a very special day in the relationship where the individual immigrant is going to have the opportunity to become a U.S. citizen. If the U.S. citizen spouse does not come to the interview, big problems can ensue, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that today. So I received a call today from someone who came to the United States a while back, got a marriage-based green card, filed an I-751, which was never adjudicated, and then filed for naturalization 1 year later. They received an interview notice for naturalization, but they never received an interview notice for the 751. So they thought they didn't need to worry about their spouse. They didn't bring their spouse. They hadn't received notice that they were supposed to bring their spouse. And when they didn't bring their spouse, the officer came out to the waiting room, looked around, said, "Where's your wife?" He said, "She's not here, she's at work." And she said, "Well, we're going ahead with the 751. So even though they had never sent him any kind of notice that they were going to decide on whether or not to remove his conditions, they were very upset that he had not brought his wife and that she was not there for the naturalization interview. So things went off the rails and his cases both got denied. The 751 got denied and the N-400 got denied. So that's another big feature of this, is that because 751s are taking so long, oftentimes people are applying for naturalization before their 751s are adjudicated. And of course, if they're going to ask you questions about the 751, about the state of your marriage, you're definitely going to need to bring your spouse. So you should always plan, no matter whether USCIS tells you or not, bring your spouse to your N-400 interview if you're applying on the 3-year rule. They could be adjudicating the 751. They might not have been planning to adjudicate the 751, but the fact that you brought your spouse might make them more inclined to just go ahead and approve that so that they can move on to your naturalization. Depends on the officer, depends if they're a jerk. Clearly here, this officer was out for blood. They denied him quickly for the 751. And because you have to have conditions removed before your naturalization case can be approved, they screwed him over on that one too. So, moral of the story is always bring your spouse to USCIS if you're applying for citizenship under the 3-year rule. If you're applying for citizenship or for a marriage-based green card or for removal of conditions, or if you have any of those kinds of cases and they make a dumb mistake like that, like they did, and you want our help, give us a call, 314-961-8200. Email us, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. If you are just looking for free advice or free content, you should check out our YouTube channel. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos there. Just look for me, Jim Hacking. You can subscribe and sign up for alerts so that whenever we post a new video, you'll get notice of that. Also, we have our free Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. We'd love to have you join there. We have thousands of immigrants in that group talking about the immigration process. And then, of course, we have our Immigration Answers live show, which is me 3 or 4 times a week, trying to answer as many immigration law-related questions as I can in just 1 hour. Finally, if you're not following us already on TikTok, @Immigration Hacking, all one word, @Immigration Hacking is my handle. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.